on the title menu. So you may notice whenever we type in the file name, normally with Ocarina of Time runs, you would just do one character. But for us, we're going to be typing in a specific set of characters. The first 3 characters we type in can be anything. They're sort of just meant to push the name over to the right a couple of characters. But then the 4 characters that come after that are actually going to be utilized later on in the run. And the 4 characters that we type in end up pointing to a specific function that we'll be calling. I'll go over that in a little bit, though. Fun, interesting thing about this route, though, is it works on both the Ocarina of Time Vanilla and Ocarina of Time Master Quest version. So if you were to do a run of this game from both Ocarina of Time Vanilla and Ocarina of Time Master Quest on the GameCube, if you don't show this start screen that says Master Quest or Ocarina of Time, there's literally no way to differentiate the two just by looking at the run itself. But yeah, if you notice something, we are playing on GameCube. That is required for this any % route, and we'll talk about that once we get started. Yes, this is the new broken route that does not even leave the village. The closest we get to the Deku Tree is we walk towards him a little bit, but then we immediately walk away. We go just past Mido. That's as far as we're going. Yeah, so once the any % route switched to GameCube, this was expensive for a little bit, but the prices have gone back down, and you can get it for a relatively decent price. Yeah, you can run this on a GameCube or a Wii, since the Wii is able to play GameCube games. Yeah, if you haven't seen the new route, it's been a thing for about a year or so. It's been in development. The current route started a couple months ago, and it went under development for about a year. And it's at its, I think, probably its final form now. It's pretty hard to imagine it can get any lower than it is right now. Yeah, so the application of this glitch only works for the GameCube version. And so we're going to see that specific file name we were talking about earlier. We have to pick 3 characters to push the file name over a certain amount, because we're going to be reading the characters from character 4 through character 7. Or character 3 through character 7, I mean. Something like that. But the first 3 can be anything, and then the ones after that, whenever you look at it in memory, end up pointing to a function that we'll be calling later on. And it's that Japanese character, 0, period, and F. Those are the magic characters, the ones that allow us to run the credits. Alright, I imagine we'll be starting any second now, so hold on to your seats.
嫌な予感しかしませんが。というわけで、じゃあ、そろそろ、もうスタートしちゃいます。大丈夫です？
自分は大丈夫です。
はい。じゃあ、ちょっと、どうしようかな。5カウントでいきましょうか。つやさんが5カウントでいいかな？
Nope, this does not work on the English version. We need the Japanese character set to get those specific values in the file name so that we can perform the trick later on. But alright, we're off with Ocarina of Time any %. While this intro gets started, let's talk about the objective here. Since this is any %, the goal is fairly simple: beat the game with no other restrictions. And in Ocarina of Time, beating the game means either landing the final blow on Ganon, or wrong warping into any cutscene that normally plays after the final blow, otherwise known as a credits warp. Now, depending on how checked into Ocarina of Time speedrunning you've been in the last year or so, the last any % speedrun you may have seen could have been the Ganondorf route. In that route, you went through the Deku Tree, beat the boss Goma, and either used get item manipulation or went to Kakariko to get a bottle, so you could do Ocarina items, a glitch that lets you use the Ocarina in places you normally can't. With the bottle, you'd go back into the basement of the Deku Tree, perform Ocarina items to delay the blue warp, and exit the boss room door, which then would wrong warp you to Ganon's castle. From there, you'd descend the tower and defeat Ganon. However, in the past year or so, with the discovery of stale reference manipulation, which allows us to write to and modify things loaded in memory, Ganondorf is no longer the current any percent root. So, to give a quick overview of what SRM is, we're going to talk a little bit about Link and what it actually means for him to hold something in the game. When Link picks up an actor, the game first tells Link where in memory the thing is and gives him a reference of where to find it. Link takes this reference, makes note of it, and goes and looks up in memory where the actor is according to that reference. Once he's looked up the actor in memory, he writes coordinates and rotation data to it to physically move it into his hands so it looks like he's holding it. Now, what happens if the actor Link is supposed to be holding no longer exists? Well, if Link isn't explicitly told the actor he's holding unloaded, he'll keep writing rotation and position data into memory where it used to be. If other things load into memory where that actor used to be, he'll start writing that rotation and position data to it instead. And this is the basis behind stale reference manipulation. Link has a stale reference to an actor in memory and is manipulating it with position and rotation data. Now, in this game, there's something called a heap. This is a designated area in memory where actors and actor code are loaded in as you travel between rooms and scenes. In Kokiri Forest, there's 3 rooms, the main area with all the houses, the maze with the sword, and the Deku Tree area. As different rooms are loaded, the appropriate actors and actor code will be loaded along with them into the heap. What we can then do with stale reference manipulation is have these actors and actor code load into memory at the location of where Link is writing position and rotation data to with this stale reference. If the thing that Link is writing ends up being actor code, this would allow us to modify game code itself, otherwise known as ACE, arbitrary code execution. Now, the GameCube version of Ocarina of Time is special when compared to all the other versions released. The credits are a bit different in that when you beat the game, a function is called to play a movie file instead of actually playing the credits in-game. This is really good for us because it simplifies what we have to do with ACE down to simply calling this single function, which is what we end up doing at the end of the speedrun. But before we do that, there's a couple of things we need to collect so we can perform the tricks required for this run. First, we need to get a sword and shield so we can move Mido, and collect Deku Nuts so we can perform walking while talking, which is a glitch that will be utilized later in the run. The sword is found in the maze through the crawl space on the upper area here next to Link House. We do some movement along the way to collect rupees, because we'll be stopping by the shop for some required items. The shield is 40 rupees, Deku Nuts are 15. So we'll need to collect a total of 55 rupees before entering the shop. There's a number of rupees scattered throughout the forest, some blue, which give 5 rupees, some green, which give 1. None of these rupees are permanent rupees, which means once you collect them, they're gone forever. And we're not just collecting all permanent rupees here because it's fast, it's actually required. Since we're going to be modifying memory later, the permanent rupees that are scattered throughout the forest actually have an effect on how things are sorted about in memory. And with how things were calculated to line up in memory, the current route ends up requiring all permanent rupees to be collected. There's also an RNG factor involved for the rupees. We need to collect at least 2 rupees from the bushes outside of the crawl space of the maze, because the rupee route ends up being just 2 rupees short by the time we get to the shop. These bushes are most likely to drop no rupees. Sometimes they drop 1 or 3 though. The world record route requires 7 rupees for RNG, but unless you're going for world record, 2 will be enough to complete the run. Once we have everything we need, we can start the... Oh, okay. So we still have a couple rupees here to collect. Looks like Tsundere got unlucky with rupees, so we're having to break some rocks to get what we need. Oh no, this is so unfortunate. Okay, it looks like we got there. So we have a permanent rupee here behind Mido's house. We collect 1 more from these bushes here. 5 for skipping over the rocks. And then we're going to go back, skip over these grassy stones over here to collect 5 more. And these can be replaced with RNG rupees with the bushes to get the world record route. But like I said, this is a marathon setting. We collect 5 here behind the shop, and we are ready to buy our shield and Deku Nuts. Y'all holding on? It's been a lot so far, but it's almost over, so y'all are troopers for hanging in. Buy the Deku Nuts, and then we'll equip them along with our shield, and we'll be ready to actually start the fun stuff. Alright, so we have everything we need. Now we need to start the heat manipulation. First, we need to move Mido so we can get to the room transition area between the Kokiri Forest and Deku Tree. Manipulating the heap is as easy as moving between the rooms to shuffle how things are loaded up in memory so that they line up in a specific way so our SRM is successful. We're going to do a quick pause and save here just in case we fail later so that we can back up and retry again. The way things end up getting ordered is deterministic, so every time this specific heat manipulation is done, things will always end up being loaded in the same spot every time. Once we shuffle things as needed, we perform a glitch called Return A, which locks the camera behind Link. This will be useful for whenever we perform walking while talking later, which normally locks the camera in a specific spot. Unfortunately, Tsundere messed up and fell in the water, which kills Return A, so we're going to have to reset the heat manipulation and Return A. But luckily, all we have to do is just go in the shop and exit, and we get to try again. So it's not that bad. Do a position lineup, perform the heat manipulation once more, and then once we're done shuffling things in memory, we'll get Return A once again, lock the camera behind Link, and we'll go ahead and head on over to the other side of the forest. So as we go over here, we're going to collect these 2 rupees for more heat manipulation stuff. And you see these rocks behind Link? When those rocks get far away enough from the camera, they end up unloading. So what we can do is get walking while talking with the sign next to the crawl space, which normally locks the camera in place. Walk down to the rocks, cancel Return A by slashing a rock to snap the camera back to the sign where walking while talking was performed, and pick up a rock as it unloads, thus allowing Link to perform SRM. So here we get walking while talking, the camera stays behind Link because we have Return A, and then we travel on down to the rocks. Gonna fix a little position setup here. Side hop all the way down, pull out our sword, get into position, flash a rock, cancel Return A, the camera snaps, and we pick up the rock as the camera goes away, thus unloading the rock. Now we are now performing SRM. We do some blind movement over to the hallway to the Deku Tree area, which unloads the Kokiri Forest room, and it will unsnap the camera. Once the camera unsnaps, we will walk back once more to the Kokiri Forest area, and now the area in memory that Link is holding is actually game code responsible for unloading the Kokiri Forest children. We're going to do an angle setup to modify the game code to instead execute the credits playing function. And once this code has been modified, we run back into the Deku Tree area to unload the Kokiri Forest children, and the credits should roll, so hold your breath. This is probably the most scary part to do in an RTA setting. So we'll give Tsundere a little bit of time here to make sure it lines up. Oh, that looks good. Fingers crossed. There it is. There's the credits. GG's. Wonderful run by Tsundere. Yeah, so once we ran over the transition, the Kokiri children unloaded, and we were modifying the Kokiri children code. And so that executed. What it did was we loaded the function for playing the credits movie from the file name. So that's why we had that specific file name. And then once we loaded that, credits play, and bam, there you go. Yep, save the world without even leaving your hometown. Yeah, I was totally expecting Tsundere to pause buffer that flick to the right, but it looked good. I don't even know if in this timeline Link knows the existence of Ganondorf or Ganon. Maybe Link's object permanence propagates to reality. If he doesn't know about Ganon, then he doesn't exist. Something like that, right? Or maybe this is proof that Link is some sort of deity that is able to manipulate time and space. Who knows? Who knows what sort of timelines this can create?
ム終了した時は、デックの盾と小切りの剣を装備してたと思うんですけど、多分最後の方に子供リンク出てくるとき、別の盾つけてます。
まあ、Wii、WC はって言ってたけど、Wii のバーチャルコンソールはこれないです。ゲームキューブだけです、この仕様は。
そうですね。これ、ゲームキューブ版が今、
Yeah, this is the precursor to Majora's Mask, where it's all in Link's head, or something like that.
バイヤーが必要な。
じゃあちょっと話を戻して、
Yeah, once we find the dev command to play the credits from the intro cutscene,
エミュレーターには
that's when any percent will be finished.
ゲームを一時停止してムービーを再生する機能が
It'll just be the Konami code, but with an extra up thrown in there or something.
やった 2 コード
I'm sure of it.
うん、なんて説明すればいいんだろうな。ちょっとプログラミングの知識がないからちょっと省くんですけど、まあ要は任意コードを実行することで、このエミュレーターの穴をついて、で、そのエミュレーターに存在するこのムービーを再生するコードを実行
But yeah,
していく
so the credits being a movie file on GameCube, what we speculate the reason for that instead of just playing them in engine is if you hack the instruction that normally plays this movie credits file
さっぱりなんで
and you
そういうことらしいです。
and you disable that, whenever you watch the credits on the GameCube version, the audio for the music gets out of sync with the credits because of lag differences. So what we think was, as an easy way to fix that, they just switched to playing a movie file instead. That's our theory for why it's a movie file instead of just playing the credits in the game.
まあ
But for whatever the
角
reason,
度調整とか
it made our lives a little bit easier,
見えないメモリを
or harder, depending on how you see it.
合わせないといけなくて、それが結構難しいんですよね。
そうですね。石の角度の、16進数でいくつだって忘れたわ。まあ、石の角度のデータをそのままコードとして読み込むみたいなことをしてます。なんで、全く位置でもずれたらアウトなんですけど、この時岡は角度調整とかすごいしやすくて、旋回とかがね、1フレームいくつ回転するってもともと決まってたりするんで、そういう厳密な調整ができちゃうゲームなんで、こういうことが可能になっちゃうって話ですね。
もう緊張して。
But that's not all the Ocarina of Time we've got for you today. I believe we'll be doing a couple of fun glitches once these credits are over. We'll get to see some of the new SRM developments that have happened in the past year or so,
複雑ですけど、これかなり簡単
and applications of it.
やること自体は本当に決まった動作をするだけなんで、この前のね、これの一つ前の64番はね、角度調整を3回やんないといけないとかいうので、なかなか厄介だったんですけど、今1回でいいんで、かなり楽にはなってます。なんで、割とね、
Yeah, that makes me curious how long the credits are compared to the game itself. I actually don't know. I never timed the credits.
まあ、もう終わったんで。もう終わったんでね。
いや、このエニパーなんですけど、正直、この後やる予定のバグ技紹介の方が相当難しくて。
ここから使う技の方が難しいらしいですね。頑張ってください。
この3つが相当難しくて、それがもうほんと心配で。
これファイナルソードじゃないです。これマスターソードって言うんですけど、ファイナルソードは今リンクが持ってる方ですね。
なんか違う盾つけてますね。
うん、知らん盾持ってるな。
おかしいな。
これは最初にさっき言ったようにムービーファイルなんで、まあ、開発者が撮ったムービー、なんだ、開発者が撮ったムービーでは、その開発者がハイレアの盾作ったっていう、そんだけの話ですね。
Yeah, these credits are long. I don't know if they're longer than the game itself, but it's gotta be close.
エンディング再生するときにね、実は、
Wow, what an amazing story. We just experienced so much there. Bravo.
そう、突然暗転して、
ね、なんか不正してるような感じに見えるんですけど、不正はなかった。
Oh, where's this? We haven't seen this before. Who is this girl? Is this setting us up for the next game? We don't know. We've never seen this before. All Link knows is his hometown in the Kokiri Forest. Now he's here? What is going on?
よかったです。世界は平和そうですね。
さっきの SRM の話、ちょっともうちょっと詳しく言おうか。まあ、無を取得って技なんです
I
けど、
guess that's the end.
まあ、この無を取得が、
Well, I guess 10 minutes of gameplay is
いきなりぶっ飛ばす
more than enough for folks these days, right?
なんでこれで書き換えとか、なんやらややこしいことができちゃうかっていうと、まあ、通常石を掴んでるときっていうのは、メモリの内部のどこかに石の座標とか角度をマイフレーム書き込んでるんですね。そうすることで、リンクの頭に石がついてくる。マイフレーム、石の座標を変えてるのが普通なんです。
Too much? You're right. We need to shorten it.
メモリの領域が解放されてしまう。石が消えたと思い込んで。つまり、普段だったら、ここ、今、石のデータにメモリ使ってる。
Yeah, so we should still have another segment coming up, which is the glitch exhibition. I believe we'll be showing some applications of SRM, which is the glitch you saw where Link was holding his hands above his head and modifying game code. We'll be doing more of that soon, I believe. I'm not sure how long the setup for switching to Wii will take, or if we're going to have a break or not.
さっぱりわかんなくて。
But stay tuned.
いや、そしたら次バグ紹介やりますか。
はい。
まあ、ちょっと別のこのバグ紹介で使うバグ技が今度はバーチャルコンソール版限定のものがあるので、とりあえずもう準備してあるので、一回、どうしようかな。これ、別の Wii でも準備してあるので、ケーブルだけ差し替えるだけなんですけど、ちょっとブチってなっちゃうかも。
はい。
Oh, and we got the switch. So you'll see we got another silly file name. This one is going to be used to set up something called title file. So you'd see there's 3 files there in the game, one for each file save. But there's actually a 4th hidden file called the title file, which is used at the beginning of the like the opening cutscene whenever you first turn on the game. And that actually has everything unlocked, all the basics at least unlocked, along with all of the medallions. I think it has all the stones. I can't remember if it's all stones or no stones. And all keys for the dungeons. And so this is actually utilized in some speedruns to get a lot of items really early. No stones? Okay, thank you. So it has all the medallions, but no stones. But it is used in some categories to get a bunch of stuff early on. For example, all dungeons, SRM uses it. And so we're doing another heat manipulation here, except this time we're loading sword slashes with the spin as we do the Tsurya transitions to change how things are shuffled up. Because whenever you charge your sword, it actually loads an invisible actor that's used for like the magic spin. We're going to do another SRM here. It's pretty much the exact same thing you saw for any %, except we're modifying different code this time. And we're actually not modifying code here, we're modifying an actor. So we're changing the draw function, which it normally handles the like taking an actor and actually drawing it to the screen so you see it. And we're going to be having that point to the function that loads the title file. And we can do that with an angle setup. So we SRM this rock. We go back into the far room. And then once the camera unlocks, we'll walk back into the Kokiri Forest area. We're modifying the draw function for one of the rocks over on the, I think it's over by the platform next to the maze. And so once we set up the angle here, and we drop the rock, we'll have it pointing to that title file function.
この角度調整が本当に難しくて、これで合ってるか。どっちだ
Looks like Sundere is just double checking to make sure that this angle setup is correct.
やばい。こっちかな。
左側じゃなかったかな、確か。
ちょっとやり直します。
Yeah, it was sort of hard to tell what the angle was from that camera angle, so it's probably best just to redo it from a better spot.
まあ、くるくる回って。
この今やってるのが ESS ターンって呼ばれますけど、スティックを中途半端に倒すと、リンクがその場で旋回するっていうやつですね。だから中途半端に倒すのが難しくてね、倒しすぎるとそのまま歩いちゃうことになるんで。
多分これでやって
All right, so then we have to draw the rock for 1 frame. Oh no,
ダメでした。
drew it for too many frames here.
ゲーム壊れる。
So the way that this works is whenever you load the title file, it overwrites your file name. So if you remember, we had our file name that had a specific set of characters.
これ
So once you draw it for more than 1 frame, it tries to look at the file name again, which gets changed to link after you run title file.
まあ、さっき最初に
And so whenever it looks at your file after it's been changed, it crashes. So you can only draw it for 1 frame. So Sundere was doing a position setup there, but looked like he went just a little bit too far and drew the rock for more than 1
や
frame.
ろうとしてたかっていうと
But it's okay. We can try it again.
この後出てくるタイトル画面。ちょっと長く見せますね。ここで多分リンクが、このリンクが走ってくるじゃないですか。これのデータを読み込むっていう、まあ、SRM っていうものをやろうとしてたんですけど、じゃあ読み込むと何が起こるのか。まず名前が変わりますよね。
We may not end up... Okay.
これ
Yeah, so it looks like Sundere is going to be using another file that already has title file loaded. What you can imagine there is as soon as Link looked at the rock and drew it for 1 frame, he gets 14 hearts, and then this happens to his inventory, and he gets the basic upgrades for all his items. And then from there, you're just able to play the game using the title file. So now that we have title file, we're going to, I believe, set up an SRM that's used in 100%. 2 of them, actually. The first one is called F boots. Some of you may be familiar with it. And these are a special type of boot that you can't normally get in the game. They're actually glitched boots. So normally there's, I think, 6 or so boots in the game that we can actually use. The first one are the regular Kakiri boots. The second one are iron boots. There's hover boots. And then there's like specific boots used in the game for certain situations, like underwater iron boots, which are normally not equipable, but they get set whenever you go underwater. However, F boots, and F means 15 in hexadecimal, are glitched boots because they're actually read from information outside of the bounds of the normal boots information area. So whenever you read this information as boot properties, this garbage information, it does a couple of really silly things, which you'll see soon enough. So we're doing something here very similar to what we did earlier, where we do a heap manipulation to load a certain memory into certain places. And for this one, we need to load the frogs memory, the frogs overlay, which is game code. Since there's some frogs on the lower area that you can normally play your Ocarina to get a heart piece from, what we need to do is we need to load them in a specific spot of memory so that whenever we do SRM in the Lost Woods, we're able to point to that and have it write to our boots that we're currently equipping. And so Lost Woods has a couple of spots that we can do SRM in, because there's bushes and a lot of rooms, and SRM loves room transitions, and loves bushes, or anything that Link can pick up, so for us this is a really good thing here. So we do a heat manipulation as we travel between rooms. And we're going to be SRMing this bush on the right here.
そこに F をぶち込みます。
We're on the left now.
はい。そうすると何が落ちるんでしょうって。ファイナルブーツ。
Oh,
ファイナルブーツ
it looks like the bush broke. Tsundere released the bomb chew a little bit too early,
確かやり直せる。
and it exploded the bush that we were trying to SRM. But we can do a super slide there so that
SRM
we can pick up the bush
本当に
as we transition between rooms,
ぴったり合わせないといけなくて、それ
which will allow Link to SRM it.
それが本当に難しくて神経を使う。あ
Ooh, almost. The first one was good, but it looked like Tsundere tried picking it up just a little bit too late and got a shield pushback, or a little bit too early.
またさっきと同じように
Luckily for us, we can just keep retrying it until we get it.
この草を向こうの部屋に運ぼうとしてるんですよね、今やろうとしてるのは。
ですね。今やってるスーパースライドっていうのが、まあ、R ボタンを離す
There we go.
草を掴もうとするんですね。
So now we have to do an angle setup so that we can modify a draw pointer to point to the frog overlay,
掴もうとするんで、無を取得してしまうという感じで。
which will then, whenever we transition to the room, the draw pointer will execute once we're looking at it and give Link the F boots.
合ってるか。
Oh, here we go. Oh no.
え
I think there was too many failed attempts with the heap, but maybe we can try again. I don't know if you have a certain amount of times you can attempt it, but we'll try it one more time.
このゾーラガーでやった部分が合ってれば大丈夫なはず。順調にグラッと
Okay, that looked pretty good.
左に1、もう一個。できた。
All right, there we go. And so, consequently, we also equipped this really cool blue tunic. It's not the Zora tunic, it's a slightly different color. But the F boots, in addition to making you run really fast and having this silly walk animation,
これ
have zero gravity.
はい。
So, with F boots, which are used in 100%, we're able to travel around the world at with a ridiculous amount of freedom, basically. Link is able to get up to places that he's normally not able to. Is able to go. It's ridiculous. However, there's a couple of things you need to watch out for. If you get knocked into the air by an enemy, you're soft locked. You have no way of getting down. If you backflip, there's also no way of getting down either, because there's no way of canceling your backflip animation, except with a, I think there's like a frame perfect bomb trick you can do, but it requires a ceiling, I think, something like that.
これ時間結構
But I love F boots. They're so silly, so fun, and they're actually useful for speedruns. So it's like it's great. It's the trifecta. So next, I believe we're going to be doing next one we're going to be doing is Grotto Srm. So this is also used in 100% for Ocarina of Time.
どんどんメモリ調整
So what we can do here is we can actually change with SRM. We're going to SRM the entrance for a grotto from instead pointing to, like, you know, just a grotto where it should normally point. We're going to point it towards a glitched entrance that actually looks at Link's angle. And with Link's angle,
出るかな。
we're able to
フレーズやって
basically warp anywhere in the game just by getting an angle setup.
もし
And there's about 65,000 different angles that we can pick from, although a lot of them share the same areas, and only a certain range of them actually work. But once we have this glitched entrance value, we can set it with Fourier's Wind,
確かこれ
and we can chain different locations together by dying or by like falling out of bounds, or by using Fourier's
こ
Wind.
れも失敗したら即フリーズなので。1、2、3
So once we have, so we have to use a position setup here because we're actually using the X position of the bush to change the entrance value of the grotto.
構成やばいんですよね。これは確かに座標をぴったり合わせなきゃいけないタイプですね。
And once we have the position and rotation setup done, we'll be able to place the bush.
合ってるのかな。
And then we'll be able to run into the grotto.
ああ、フリーズした。
Oh no, it looks like we SRM'd the wrong thing.
なかなか難しいんですけど。これ
So whenever Tsundere messed up the heat manipulation, I think what happened was the wrong thing got SRM'd, and it was probably either the gold sculpture patch or the decu or the business scrub. And so like if you just modify that data with SRM and it's not intentional, oftentimes you can just get a crash like that, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I don't think he did save after F boots, which is very unfortunate. Maybe he has a second save file though with F boots, because I did see a second save file on there, so I could definitely see that being the case. Or a third save file, I mean. Yeah, let's go backups. So we still got F boots. Tsundere definitely planning in advance.
F ブーツだけ取ったデータですね。
We get to utilize them once more to quickly get over to Lost Woods and attempt once more the Grotto SRM.
さっき言った SRM 割の 100% で使われてるんですけど、この
Oh, that was cute.
今みたいにジャンプリー
Don't even need to actually walk in. Position perfect. Let's go.
そのまま空飛んでって降りれなくなる。間違ってジャンプリー、間違ってバック中すると終了の RTA ですね。であと空中でダメージ受けたりするとそのままうわーって言いながらお空に。
Alright, so we're performing the heap setup for Grotto SRM once more time.
という感じで
And like I said, so we can use this SRM to set the entrance of the grotto to anything, but there is one value within the range of the entrance table that ends up being a copy of Link's angle, which lets us warp anywhere based off of Link's angle whenever we void warp or use Fourier's Wind or die or enter a special void in a place with a glitched entrance.
マジか。
So I think Tsundere might just want to
これは多分やり直さないとダメだった
reload the area. I'm not sure.
いるのかな。わからん。
Or not. I couldn't remember if you can just retry this if you fail. Maybe so, though.
あ、ただ、そっか。100%にもいろいろ種類があって、なんかね、NSR とか呼ばれてる 100%RT もあるんですけど、そっちはね、アイテムを正規取得しなくてもいいっていう。
Alright, here we go.
100%みたいな。
Take two.
そっちはね、タイピングゲームを30分ぐらいやって終わるっていう、よくわからない RT があるんですけど。
And since we're using the X position, which is a float value, it's not like a...
今回の
the results of this are actually very chaotic, I think is a way of saying it. But if you do the same movement, it will end up being the same value every time. But it's not like if you were slightly to the left or to the right, it would be just slightly off on the float value. It would actually just be something completely different with the way it works. So you either get it or you don't.
これで合ってるのか。
So here we're going to perform a warp setup to go to the water temple, actually, based off of Link's angle. Oh no,
どうしよう。
that's super unfortunate. I think Tsundere had a bad angle setup for the glitched entrance, and it happened to point to a bunch of zeros in memory, and 0 is actually equal to the Deku tree. So more often than not, if you have a messed up setup with the Grotto SRM, you end up warping to the Deku tree or crashing. Sometimes you get something else and it's exciting, but it usually means failed run. But if you don't get what you wanted, then that means you didn't get the glitched entrance value.
そっちでちょっと見てもらう感じですかね。
So we'll have to do the position setup once more. Hopefully Tsundere will get it right this time.
ちょうど
because seeing glitched entrance is really cool. Being able to warp anywhere you want just by changing your angle. And then we might be able to do something afterwards, but we'll see, depending on how much time we have left, I think.
またすぐ始まるんですけど、そこで、そこの大鳥でうちのオカリナのオールダンジョンズの RTA があります。で、それがこれをふんだんに使った RTA になるんで、もしよかったらね、そちらを。一応ボーナスゲーム扱いになってるんで確定ではないんですけど、まあ、大鳥になって
Some of the exciting random ones that I've gotten personally, it's usually whenever I just like show up in a shop. Those ones are fun because it's like to the shopkeeper, you look like you're just a customer walking in, but to Link, it's like I just fell into this hole and now I'm in a shop. What the heck? And it's even funnier because like you were expecting to go somewhere else, but now you're in a shop. Bombchu Bowling's a great one always. Yeah, Happy Mask Shop in the 100% route is great. If you haven't seen it. It looks like Tsundere might be having to stop due to going over time. But if you want to see Grotto Srm and its utilization, if you watch the current 100% route, ZFG and Glitchymon are currently running it, I believe. If you ever want to look up one of their PBs, you can see them do Grotto Srm, which allows them to warp to anywhere they want with their angle. And they use it throughout the entire run. It's very exciting and very cool. But that's it. That is Ocarina of Time any percent with the fun little glitch exhibition. Got to see F-Boots and title file. Hope you all enjoyed it. And big thanks to Tsundere for putting on the run and the glitch exhibition. Big thanks to RTA In Japan for throwing on the event and Speed Gaming for hosting the English restream. Once again, I'm Save State, and I hope you all enjoyed it.